Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
That I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
The office of President of the United States.
The office of President of the United States.
We have been given a gift by God today to usher in a new dynasty.
Now you get RFK Jr.
Don't you want a president who's going to make America healthy again?
You get Tulsi Gabbard.
Putting our country in a continual state of war.
You get Elon Musk and you get J.D. Vance.
It's a hell of a way to start the next 4 years.
The right-wing Avengers.
We have an army of digital soldiers.
Department of Defense under Donald Trump will achieve peace through strength.
Shut down the FBI Hoover building on day one.
The rescission of 78 Biden-era executive actions, executive orders, presidential memoranda, and others.
The golden age of America has most definitely begun.
Begin preparing the 30,000-person migrant facility at Guantanamo Bay.
They're getting the dirtbags off these streets.
There's one guy who can fix this shit, and it's Donald Trump.
What's storm, Mr. President?
You'll find out.
Thunder rolls, the fire's in the sky. We've been waiting for this moment all our lives. The darkness gathers, the evil takes its form, but side by side we ride into the storm. They thought they could blind us.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm fucking
there
muted.
We go. Hello.
My mic was mute. I didn't do that. Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody out there. I hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to the Red Pill Project's Daily Dose, live with you Monday through Friday. I even got to flip my camera up because it's on mirror, and that just bugs my eyes. And so just to kind of recap what I said over the 2 minutes with no sound, I have, this is the last show of 2025. I'm not doing a show tomorrow night, so I'll be back with you on January 1st, 2026. We got a lot of stuff to talk about tonight's show, The Art of War, the 2025 recap. I'm going to be going over all of that here in just a few minutes. We're going to recap 2025, the Trump administration, what they've done, what's going on. We're going to see some nuggets of how Josh was right that are happening right now. And then we're going to get into the depth of it. We're going to talk about all the news happening. But first, I got to get Tammy on here because I'm sorry, she's only got a few minutes. She looked so mad at me. Like when she came out, she's just like, can't hear you.
No. Jason's working hard, though. Jason's working hard right now, so that's good.
Oh, he thought it was you.
I'm doing good. Crazy holiday season. How was your guys' Christmas?
Christmas was great. I mean, I had a great Christmas, great holiday, great birthday the other day. Everything is good.
Oh my gosh, I missed your birthday.
Yeah,
Happy birthday.
Everybody missed my birthday, but that's okay. A few different people got me, but I didn't even pay attention to most of them. I just kind of like had my own day. It's 44, so it's like one of those birthdays where you're like,
I'm halfway through my 40s almost. Wow. Well, happy birthday. And I'm sorry I missed it. That's one of those things like it's kind of when you have your birthday so close to Christmas, it kind of sucks.
You get nothing. You get this, they re-gift you your Christmas present. Hey, I went and rewrapped this. You hadn't played with it yet. Here you go.
Well, I'm going to have to watch your show after because I am excited about the recap you're going to do. 2025. Boom, gone, done, you guys.
Listen, my recap is going to be good. It's going to be pro-Trump because I think that a lot of people don't see what's really happening. I do, at least from my perspective. In 2026, I could be proven wrong, okay? And I don't want to have to come back to this show and be like, shit, I was wrong, guys. I'm sorry. Lock and load those guns. It's 3%er time, right? I hope we don't have to come back to that. I'm pretty sure we're not going to have to come back to that. But yeah, we had a good 2025. We didn't see necessarily what we wanted to see, but it's setting the stage for 2026. So it's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, well, geez, there's so much going on in the news right now, and everyone wants your eyes stuck on fraud. I'm like, this is just irritating me, Josh, because all this fraud has been happening for a very long time. Like, I'm sorry, but this is how your government works.
There you go.
Like, hello. So what's the plan here? So I asked Jay today, and do you ever get those random thoughts when you're doing something throughout the day? And you're like, yeah. And I'm like, I got to text this so I don't forget. And it was, do you remember like a couple of weeks ago, Netanyahu, he declared Somaliland its own state within Somalia. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. So I just had this like, oh my gosh, what does that have to do with this huge exposure of the Somali fraud? I don't know what it is, but I have a feeling that these two things are aligned in some way. Do you think?
Well, I don't know if they're necessarily aligned other than Trump uses Israel. So a lot of people think that Israel is controlling Trump. I actually look at it completely opposite. I think that Trump is controlling Netanyahu. I think that Trump can burn Netanyahu. He is a saving grace for Netanyahu. He's the only reason that Netanyahu is still in power. And that Netanyahu owes him a debt of gratitude. So Netanyahu is actually working at Trump's behest. We actually learned about this. Netanyahu said something a few months back pertaining to when Donald Trump wasn't even president. And you remember when Israel went out there and eliminated Hezbollah in like 3 days with the pagers, and then they did the land strikes?
Yes. Yeah.
Netanyahu came out and said, we coordinated this with President Donald Trump from Mar-a-Lago.
Right. I remember that.
He wasn't president.
I remember that. I remember you talking about that. I remember you talking about that. What was that relationship was going on even when he, okay.
So there's a lot happening there. And I think that Trump really controls. So Somaliland, I think this is going to be utilizing proxies to go in and take it out of the third world. like bring it into the modern day. They got tons of natural resources there that
an
America
island.
could pillage. Yeah, the America could pillage.
An island within the war zone, possibly.
Yeah, so I mean, you got to look at it in the prospect that how can we use this country that is sending their worst over here to take advantage of our country and our system and change that culture and change that dynamic. And I think that that's what we're seeing a lot of right now unfold with the kind of the foreign policy integration that Trump is doing with going out there and making deals, basically reverse engineering the Belt and Roads Initiative that China was doing, because that's how China actually operated. Instead of going out there and utilizing color revolutions to topple countries to control their resources and control drug trade flows or arm trade flows or to line up a terrorist organization, China went in there and said, hey, we'll help you kick the United States out. We will fund roads industry. We will fund all of the materials needed to pull the resources out of your country. We will only take 20% off the top line as long as they can get exported to China, and we can utilize them for industrial manufacturing. And these countries are like, yeah. I mean, the day that Joe Biden pulled out of Afghanistan, right? The next day, China met with the Taliban and did a $10 billion deal to build roads and manufacturing plants throughout all of Afghanistan to pull the lithium out of the ground. So,
right. Didn't they take over the runway there too, China?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
So this is kind of what we're dealing with, is this kind of proxy mechanism. And I see Israel as kind of this intermediary to a lot of these third world countries that Trump uses, because it's Israel. But it's also this kind of military force that he has within the Middle East to keep Iran at bay. And they're not really trying to keep Iran at bay. And something I'm going to talk about here later is that they're going to topple Iran. They're going to overthrow the Khamenei regime. I've talked about this for over a year. I said this. I was on Redacted with Clayton Morris about a year ago, not a year ago, about May or April of last year. And I said that the Trump administration is working with Netanyahu and they're going to topple the Khamenei regime. They're going to overthrow them and install some type of pro-Western leader into Iran. Iran's going to come into OPEC. They're going to get deals directly through Qatar, and they're going to be brought back into the whole global infrastructure. The Middle East is going to Westernize. It's going to be built up, manufacturing, Trump hotels.
I hope you're right on that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the plan. I've seen it all along, and this is what we're seeing unfold right now.
I felt a switch, and maybe I'm way off base here. This isn't really my lane. This is definitely your lane more so than mine. But I felt a switch after the assassination attempt, Josh. After the assassination attempt of Donald Trump, I felt like things completely shifted. And I view this as mafia gangs. We have all these gangs operating, right? And we have corporate gangsters. We have, countries that are acting like gangsters. And it feels like you can't be a lone person. Trump was a lone guy for a long time. When he came down the escalator, I believe he was a lone guy. He was like, hey, I'm just going to come in here and clean up America. And then he started to understand how things worked and how everything was kind of pay to play, that everything was negotiations. And I feel like you have to be a part of this mafia or that mafia in order to have protection, like to save your life. And I don't know what deal was made during the assassination attempt. I don't know, but I sound like Candace Owens here. I just feel like something changed there. And I think other people feel that too. Something changed with his relationship with Israel. Something changed with somebody that he made deals with.
Yep. So I call it the multi-headed Hydra. Right? Yeah. You have all these heads, and each head is a faction and an ideology. For the longest time, you've had these heads of the Hydra that have aligned towards a satanic, dark occult cabal, what I call the old guard, the European bankers, the old dynasties, the aristocracy,
the 13 families.
Right. And over the last decade, Trump has been systematically dismantling them. And then there is this idea that Trump is working with Russia and China since 2018. And we actually know about this. A very a person who's very close to the Trump administration, who was actually one of the representatives that went to this place. He went to Rome in 2018 as a representative of the Trump administration, along with representatives of China, India, and Russia, and Saudi Arabia and other countries. And they negotiated world peace. And they said, this is how the new world order is actually going to unfold. And it's not going to be what the globalists want. It's going to be a multipolar world. And they decided this back in 2018. And so I've known about this, and this is kind of where the idea of knowing where things are going to go comes from. But so when we start to look at the multi-headed Hydra, is when they took a shot at Trump and missed, that showed all these other factions, they're not in control. They just lost. They don't have ultimate power. They missed the one target they needed to hit. That's a sign of weakness. Immediately after they missed in Butler, Pennsylvania, what happened? We had Joe Biden called Donald Trump almost immediately in the hospital. We know this because RFK had a documentary that was going on that is being filmed at his house, and Trump called RFK, and they're on a call, and his son releases this clip.
That's right.
On social media, and Trump is talking about how Joe Biden called me, and we were talking like we were, backyard buddies and school friends, and he's like, "Man, buddy, how did that shot miss you?" And I'm like, right there, I'm like, Trump made a deal. I said Biden called and made a deal with Donald Trump because he acquiesced, because he knew what the hell was happening. And I said, watch out, what's going to happen. Biden's going to drop out of the election and Kamala Harris is coming in. A week later, exactly that happened. And I said, Kamala Harris is coming in because that is the one thing that Obama, Clinton, the Democrats would cause them to lose their shit. Because if they knew Kamala Harris was running, they will lose the election. And boom, it happened like clockwork. And I was like, oh my goodness. Like we have been on target about that.
Yeah. I don't know. I do feel like the energy has shifted, especially in this last month of December of 2025. It felt really, 2025 felt a little dark. It felt a little very chaotic. It felt like there was so much division, but something has changed. I feel like over December, the month of December, I think people are pouring into themselves more, which is all we can do, Josh. Right? We don't have a lot of control over the things that are going on in politics and whatnot. And so I think that people are understanding that we have to restore culture in our country. Right? We need to restore culture, American culture. This is what I've been doing. I don't know if you've caught it at all, but I've been doing this segment on American culture on my show, and I've been highlighting something that defines American culture every day, because we need to reattach and claim our culture. We have to, because if we don't, we're at risk for other people doing that. And I feel like it's not just me, it's not from me, but like, I just feel like I think a lot of people got that call or getting that call that, okay, it's enough here. Enough with the skin thing. You're going to tell me I'm this way or I'm that way because of my skin color. Enough. People have had it. And to save our country, we have to understand what our culture is to be able to preserve it. And sadly, I played a person on the street type of video on my show this week. And, some guy was going up like, define American culture. And, middle-aged people were defining it. It was difficult for them to define it, which it really shouldn't be. Right? I mean, so many words come to mind when I think about American culture. Perseverance, freedom's at the top of the list for sure, right? Innovation, creativity, toughness. Like these are all words I use to describe American culture, the wild, wild west. This is how we do things around here. A little bit loud, a little bit, we don't really care. That's our culture. And that's the beauty. That's why everybody wants to come here. And we've been pushed down to think, be apologetic. Yeah, you're loud. Oh, you need to make way for other people. Oh, you're a colonizer. And I think that's over.
I do too. And so we're coming to an end of an era. And that era is the show I did last night, the 2025 PSYOP. It's the end of the PSYOP. So think about it even on the right, or America First and MAGA, is you have a lot of people that have been disillusioned since 2017. You go into the Q movement, which was a PSYOP. It was a psychological warfare operation. I'm not afraid to say that to people. But then it got exploited. People took a hold of this movement and they just flooded it with nonsense and garbage. Those people are now coming to the realization that like they're defending what they believe to be truth. And this is what a lot of people, whether it's the Candace Owens crowd, whether it's the MAGA crowd, the MTG crowd, it doesn't matter. They're all defending what they believe to be truth, what they've been watching and witnessing for over a decade. And a lot of people are coming to the realization that, fuck, maybe I was lying, right? So, but
yeah.
I want to read this because you talked about American culture and you hit a whole lot of words that I actually put in this post today, because this post took me a while to write, but it's right up your alley. So I said, listen up, America. The Somali corruption is the tip of the iceberg. More and more rampant fraud will be discovered, and even worse. This wasn't about making money. It was about destroying America.
Yes.
Here is a reality check. We are not the same country we were 142 years ago. America once needed immigrants. Now in 2025, we don't. This is not cruel or racist. It's just the facts. In 1883, when Emma Lazarus wrote, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free," America was barely 100 years old. The country was still building its infrastructure, its economy, and its identity. The labor force was needed to build the nation, and immigrants were essential to that mission. They came in waves, offering their hard work, their skills, and their dreams, and America was better for it. Fast forward to today. America does not need immigrants in the same way anymore. The country's infrastructure is in its place. Jobs that once relied on cheap immigrant labor have been replaced by automation, technology, and more educated workforce. We have an economic system that, for better or worse, has shifted. The idea of immigration as a cornerstone of America's growth has been warped and exploited. The system that once built America is now being used to tear it apart. It's no longer a mechanism for progress. It's a political weapon. What once fueled growth has been twisted into a political machine, exploited for votes, used to bypass the law, leveraged to fracture the nation. Immigration is no longer political driven. It is agenda driven with real cost to Americans. Americans don't need unchecked immigration. It needs a system that is unapologetically America first. A system that reflects Americans' values, culture, and character, not designed to serve political agendas or globalist fantasies of a one world government. No American should apologize for putting America first, or for recognizing that America no longer needs immigration the way it once did. This nation was built through sacrifice, hard work, and blood, and that legacy deserves protection, not political exploitation. If we allow immigration, it should be for the best of the best, fully vetted, law-abiding, and aligned with American values. Living in the United States is a privilege, not an entitlement, and it must remain that way. This isn't about party lines. It's about sovereignty, responsibility, and protecting our future, our resources, and our way of life. The idea of America is bigger than any ideology. If we fail to defend it, we risk losing what made this nation a beacon of strength and hope. America first, always.
Oh, that's great, Josh. I couldn't agree more. But we got to get over this little hump of being feeling guilty or feeling shame around claiming our country. We have to get over this. Nobody's got, most people. I just don't see this type of behavior in the world. This hating people for their color alone, I don't see this kind of behavior in our country. In fact, I see the opposite. And maybe it's because I live in rural, northern Colorado and in the country, but I don't see hateful behavior around us. And so again, there's a version of what's going on in the world that exists online. And then there's a version of reality. And, I choose reality. And in reality, I'm just not seeing this narrative that we've been fed and made feel like we shouldn't have the right to claim our culture. We have a very distinct culture. And, I've been covering it now for weeks. And people come to America they bring bits of their culture, but they reinvent themselves here. This isn't about taking exactly what you had back home, bringing it here and reestablishing it here. It's a reinvention. It's bigger, better. I mean, and why should we apologize for that?
Well,
we give people that opportunity.
And go to the immigrants that came over from China or from Thailand or from Laos during the 60s and the 70s. that live in California. They came here with nothing in their pockets. They worked up, they built empires,
Yes.
and legitimate businesses. They employed millions and millions of people. And you know what? They're American through and through. They're more American than a lot of these Somalis out here that are raping and pillaging the system.
That's right, because they've worked the American system the right way. If you work the system the right way, right? Like you come here legally, you start something small on your own, you work your ass off to build it, it can happen for you. And it does over and over again. But because of the corporate gangsters now that's been infringing upon the American dream, I feel like it's making it harder and harder. Like we have to push back on these gangsters that are swallowing up small business, that are taking over our culture just as much because, you know, people think, oh, the Somalis are just running this crime syndicate themselves. Of course they aren't. Of course they aren't. They're being taken by the hand by NGOs. Here, we'll help you start a business. This is what we do, right? 30% goes to the PAC, right? When they start making money off of getting grants and whatnot, funneling. It's a money laundering operation, and they wouldn't know where to begin to start that. Someone is helping them do that, right? We know this. And we know this is through Doge as well, right? This is what Elon was uncovering. And we got to back off now. Why did we back off with that? Because it started to unravel the whole ball of wax. And it turns out people on the left and people on the right work the system this way.
100%. I was actually looking for something I wrote yesterday because it's almost exactly what you just said. It said, this is Republicans and Democrats. This was the largest wealth transfer in American history. When everybody was sitting there in 2008 looking at the banks getting a bailout, and thinking that, $3 trillion to the banks was a massive wealth transference, you were missing the point that the politicians were already doing this to NGOs, to small businesses and corporations that never existed in the first place, which were they're just funneling money through. Those companies and businesses go out of business and then flip around and refund those politicians. And this has been going on for decades, Republican and Democrat. I mean, I live in District 6 in Minnesota. And Tom Emmer, Republican majority whip in Congress. So this is the second guy or the third guy in Congress, right?
Right.
Is my congressman. Did you know in 2015, he was a member of the Somali caucus with our current Attorney General Keith Ellison here in Minnesota that allowed for all of this stuff to happen? That they promoted bringing the Somalians over here and helping them get federal aid and federal loans and grants?
George Bush did that here too. He cut a deal in Weld County because JBS is the biggest meat packer. And George Bush, way back in the day, cut a deal to bring in so many Somalians into that little town for workers for the meat packing company. This has been going on a long time, right? This has been going on a long time. So, but there's a lot more normies in our pool now that understand how the world works a little bit more. So they're still kind of shocked. I feel like, oh my gosh, this is an isolated, oh my gosh, this is everywhere, you guys. Everywhere you look, it's in health, it's in food, it's it's everywhere. It's everywhere.
It is. And that's why I said, you're going to find, so I think that 2025 was the beginning of the year of exposure.
I think so too.
Of exposing the system. And that every rock you begin to unturn, whether it's Medicaid, Medicaid fraud, whether it's, right now, the state of California took in more tax money than ever before in history, but the California State Retirement Fund is $165 billion in debt.
Oh, yeah. And San Diego's in huge trouble with all these projects that they have going, like a water project. And it's an absolute scam. The train, the fast rail train or whatever, the stupid electric charging stations, none of these proposed projects that siphoned off billions of dollars to be done have been done. Where the money?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was like, going to the Trump sitting there with Powell from the Federal Reserve. You remember this a few months ago. They spent $3.5 billion to renovate the Federal Reserve building. And Trump's sitting there looking at this going,
where's the reno?
What did you renovate? Like, you could build a 80-story skyscraper with granite walls and ceilings and gold linings. everywhere for
it's
that
disgusting. What do you think of this little talk that's going on X about everybody not paying their taxes? That's exciting.
Well, I might have something to say about that.
You might. I'm like, why is everybody asking? Everybody's doing surveys. I'm like, I ain't liking that. I'm not putting my name on that list. They're just kind of like.
So let me pull this one up because I think it's important. You had the House Republicans today come out and say this bad boy. They said, get ready for the largest tax refund season in American history. Thank the working families, tax cuts, middle class families are looking to an extra $1,000 in their pocket this tax season. It's your money. You should keep it.
Whoopee. $1,000
tax refund. It's called overpayment. Okay. It's what happens when the government holds a gun to your head and makes your American citizens pay their taxes up front by using the law. And if you don't, they will come at you with guns and seize everything you have. They know that if it wasn't that way, no one would pay taxes. Any retard celebrating a tax refund is part of the problem. Yes. Why are we paying taxes to a criminal and corrupt government, Republicans and Democrats, who embezzle the money into the pockets of their donors, NGOs, and back into their own pockets? The GOP is so far out of touch with reality.
Amen, brother. They are so out of touch. $1,000. Ooh, thank you. I mean,
ooh, yeah. Man, you get $1,000. Oh.
What the? I mean, geez, it's just after you watch these Somalians that are making these videos, you go to work and they're living and driving all these fancy cars and everything. Like, people are pissed, and rightfully so. And I hope something happens.
$83 a month, guys. That's what you're worth to the GOP.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
$83 a month is what you're getting back in taxes. So when you go look at your federal taxes that come out of your paycheck, that $480 every 2 weeks that goes out there, you're getting about 10% of that back, $83 per month.
Ooh. I know.
And you got retards out there like, oh my God, let's fucking Trump. Like, and nothing on Trump. I'm just saying.
No, I hope he gets rid of it. He's hinted towards getting rid of it.
Out there, you got the people that are just like Trump, Trump, $1,000 back. I told you. Like,
oh, it's crazy, dude.
If you think that's progress, you're fucking retarded.
Amen. Amen. I have to run because I have another meeting, but thank you so much. I just really wanted to come on and say Happy New Year to this whole audience, to Red Pillars, to you, because I didn't get to come back on before Christmas and whatnot. So I want to make sure I say Happy New Year to all of you. You have the very best audience, Josh. You really do. Some really cool people in this audience. So I want to invite everybody to join me in the Naturally Inspired community for optimum health for 2026. Can we agree? We've got to take our health back, right? I'm here to support you.
There's the wrong link.
I'm here to support you. All you got to do is go to redpillhealth.info. I've got over 30 products right now that are buy one, get one free. Of course, I'm always going on and on about the collagen because that's one of my favorite products. But you can get this buy one, get one free right now. When you make a purchase, that gets you into the Naturally Inspired community. And then you get to join us on Tuesday nights for our weekly wellness workshop. You get access to me. It's really me. It's not a chat bot. I think this is so funny when people text me. They're like, I have a question. They think they're talking to a chat bot. I think it's so funny. It's not a chat bot, you guys. Like I'm a tech tard. I don't do chat bots. It's truly me. I like to actually interact with people. Also book an assessment. If you want to chat about, the plan for the future, there are a few things that I can, help you with and get you on the optimum health journey. It will be painless. I promise. Join us. We've got to turn health around in this country. We cannot claim our culture if we're not healthy. So go to redpillhealth.info. Get started today. I look forward to meeting with you. And I can't wait till we're back on track because I've got so much I want to talk to you about, Josh.
All right, Tammy. Have a great New Year's.
And you too.
You and Jason here soon. So much love. Take care, guys.
Thank you. Good night, Red Pillars.
All right. Let's get into the art of war and the 2025 recap. I'm going to start with taxes because, listen, you have Trump, and I love Trump, guys. I am absolutely a Trump loyalist, but I'm all about reality checks here. I am all about the idea of reality. Any Republican, and that goes from Donald Trump on down, coming out there and talking about we're saving Americans money on taxes, and the GOP coming out and going the largest tax refund season in American history. Anybody cheering that's fucking retarded. Absolutely just retarded. These people shouldn't be able to vote. And the reason why is because at the same time, the DOJ, citizen journalists are uncovering trillions upon $1 trillion of rampant fraud, corruption, embezzlement, and money laundering activities of U.S. taxpayer dollars. And then they're like, but we're saving you guys $1,000 this year. Oh my God, you should be happy. Look what we did. You fucking kidding me? Whoever wrote that tweet from the House Republicans should have a swift kick in the ass and be thrown out the door. And any House Republican, anybody from the GOP or the Senate who agree with that, or like clapping and going on, Fox News or Hannity and out there like, we're saving Americans $1,000 a year now on their taxes. They need a big fucking slap across the face, and they should be fucking thrown out of Congress in 2026. Because guess what? Taxes are nothing more than your bond of indentured servitude. See what happens when you don't pay your taxes. I know people are like, I haven't paid taxes for 10 years. You're one of the lucky ones. See what happens when you don't pay your taxes. They come into your house, they break down your door with guns, they'll throw you in jail, they'll take everything that you ever have, even if you say, hey, I'll pay now. And they say no. They'll take away all your methodologies to make money. Because they're fucking criminals. And they take that money and they hand it out like fucking candy to the lobby. They hand it out like candy to foreign nations and NGOs and Somali businesses and companies in Minnesota that go out there and they make immense fortunes off of doing nothing. So if you're on X, or if you see any politician out there going like, well, you got to be really happy for the Trump administration. They just saved Americans $1,000 a year. You're going to get the biggest tax return in history. You need to call them out on their bullshit. You need to stand right up on action. You need to take that post, tag me in it, and say, listen, fucknut. And I know I'm pumped up about this because this gets me pumped up. And listen, we need a big old tax revolt. We need to go out there and say, hey, I understand things take time. I understand that when you're investigating RICO or grand conspiracies that overran for decades, that these things take time. But I'm only giving you so much time. And eventually, we're going to keep giving you time, but you're going to give us our money. And how that's going to happen is we're going to stop paying taxes while you guys figure it out for the accountability side. That's a good trade-off. We're not going to pay our federal income taxes. Well, you guys figure that out on the Department of Justice side of when arrest and accountability is going to come to the politicians that threw America under the bus. I think that's a great idea. And by the way, I was just put on a list by the DHS and the IRS, just so you know. They monitor all of this, and yep, automated checklist, boop. You have Palantir out there monitoring the channels, and this just got tagged by Grok, sent over the Palantir, and then added to the IRS database like, check mark, ding. All right. What do we got going on? Donald Trump yesterday. So, by the way, and I do not blame Donald Trump for any of this. And the reason I don't blame Donald Trump for any of this is because we have separation of powers. We have separation of powers. We have a judicial, we have a legislative, and we have an executive. Donald Trump is the chief executive officer and the commander-in-chief of the executive branch of government. He has no power and authority other than influence over the judicial and over the legislative. If you want someone to blame why we're still paying federal income taxes, why you're paying property taxes, capital gains taxes, why you're out there having a central bank, a Federal Reserve, why the economy is in the state it is, why inflation is the way it is, you blame Congress, because Congress in Article 1, Section 2 controls the purse. That's the separation of power. All right. Donald Trump yesterday, anybody else he said that something could happen in the next 48 hours. What's going to happen in the next 48 hours? I don't know if I want to take any guesses on this, but you have to recap what has already happened over the last 24 hours. Let's look at this. Europe and Russia, Ukraine. NATO is about to enter a new phase after the Ukraine-Europe-sponsored assassination attempt on Vladimir Putin. Putin most likely to respond in kind and then take Odessa, checkmate, could prompt NATO intervention engagement. Asia, Trump's $11.1 billion arms deal to Taiwan was just countered by China's silver export restrictions and military exercises around Taiwan, the military embargo, prompting Japanese military buildups and calls for a response. Venezuela, Trump begins land strikes. We just had more today. Middle East, Trump vows to strike Iran if they begin development of ballistic missiles again, which Israel has claimed they have. And yes, they are developing ballistic missiles. Saudi Arabia and the UAE are in a proxy war in Yemen. The world is at the tipping point. Here we go into 2026. That's true. Okay. All of that shit is happening right now. Taiwan deployed U.S.-made tanks as China surrounds the islands with missiles, warships, and fighter jets. Now, what you're not hearing about this is the reason for this is because last week, Donald Trump did a $11.1 billion arms package directly to Taiwan. And it was basically a fuck around and find out for China. We're sending them $11.1 billion. And China came out and said, I wouldn't do that. Immediately, China put restrictions on silver exports. Why did the silver's price skyrocket high? Because of China, 34% of the global supply. What's going to happen with that? That price is going to come down, guys. I would take profits. Telling you, but it's going to come down. Unless war breaks out tomorrow between the U.S. and China, it's going to go down. And is war going to break out? No, war is not going to break out. What you're seeing is basically battle lines being drawn. Okay? Now, this was also interesting. A day ago, Netanyahu met with Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Right after Zelensky left, Netanyahu came in. Trump gives the green light to use force against ballistic missile programs in Iran if intelligence confirms it. U.S. intelligence, not the Mossad. The next day, massive protests and riots occur within Tehran, and they're still ongoing today. That's a color revolution. A year ago, I discussed exactly this. I talked about the preparations were being made for a regime change in Iran to overthrow Khamenei. The biggest hurdle was dismantling the Iran proxy networks in the Middle East and weakening their allied relationships. It's happening. It's literally happening right now. Now, before we get into the Somali fraud and all that stuff, because that's just going to fire me up even more. Let's do a recap of 2025. What have we seen? What have we learned? What has happened in 2025? And yes, I do know in 1 hour from now, people, whether you know it or not, whether you realize it or not, I will be joining Alpha Warrior on DEFCON 0. DEFCON 0. DEFCON. Yep. So DEFCON 0 coming up right after the show. That's on Badlands Media. That is on Badlands on Rumble. So you can find it there. We're going to go ahead and just do a little segue right before we get into this. Oh, this is kind of cool. We'll do this guy here. We're going to do this bad boy. If anybody's interested in this, head on over to the Rumble and you can find this hat right here. Celebrate freedom, honor history, and wear your pride for the nation that started it all. Introducing the We the People 250th anniversary hat, a bold tribute to 250 years of American independence. Designed for patriots who stand tall, this cap captures the enduring spirit of liberty. On the front, the powerful words, "The We the People," stand stitched in a classic script reminding us of the document that built a nation. Below, 1776 to 2026 marks 250 years of courage, unity, and freedom. The colors say it all: deep red, crisp white, and strong navy blue, a reflection of the American flag itself. The Liberty Bell stands proud above the lettering, reminding us of the sound that first rang for freedom. On the brim, the declaration continues: defend liberty. Crafted for comfort, built for durability, and made to stand out wherever you go, this hat isn't just an accessory, it's a statement. Whether you're at a game, on the go, or at a 4th of July celebration, show the world where your heart stands with America. Honor the past, defend the present, inspire the future. Get your We the People 250th anniversary hat today and wear your freedom proudly. And you can find that link on our Rumble. And go check that out. And all the links will be on the Rumble, and all the QR codes are on the Rumble as well. So you can go check that out there. All right, 2025 recap. Because what we witnessed over the course of the last year is straight out of the art of war. It is disinformation is necessary. It is psychological warfare. It is appear weak when really strong. This is that phase that we're currently in there. If you remember, we talked about the various different phases the Trump administration was doing. Phase 1 was uncovering the money trail, uncovering where the money leads, follow the money, and dismantling the infrastructure of the deep state of the globalists. Phase 2 was getting ready and aligned for prosecutions. This was the most critical point. This is why we saw the psychological operations actually play out, because if you immediately went out there and started attacking all your enemies who are still coordinated and combined, they could overwhelm you with force. You have to give them the impression that they're still in control. And this is what Trump did very, very beautifully. All right. Number 1, what did we see? The America First doctrine. America no longer needs mass immigration, endless foreign entanglements, or globalist appeasements. It needs clarity, sovereignty, and self-interest. So we saw the national security strategy for President Trump come out. This is America First, is not apology politics. I love this. National sovereignty is not isolationism. Culture, law, and civic cohesion matter more than the gross domestic product optics. What he's talking about there is that numbers on a sheet are not more important than what's actually happened within the social fabric. Immigration as a privilege, not an entitlement. Obviously, that's from me, but that is what we're seeing form right now. Best of the best, highly vetted framework for any future immigration takeaway. Trump's doctrine is not about exclusion. It's about national survival and coherence. It's about rebuilding America from the ground up. It's about focusing on the Western Hemisphere, focusing on America first, building up those around us stronger and better and aligned with American values and culture before we ever go out and reach our foot out to the international domain. So, immigration, border security. Well, what we've seen is Trump locked down the border. 98% of all border crossings have been massively reduced. The amount of drugs and human trafficking into our country has been brought down to near zero. We've uncovered through DOGE since the beginning of 2025 trillions of dollars of wasteful spending, corruption, and abuse by Congress, by Democrats, by NGOs. Everything from Congress's own special committees that they would form, where they give them nice office buildings with 25 employees with all six-figure salaries and even bonuses ranging into the millions of dollars, to where all of the people on the payroll didn't even exist. That happened in Michigan. That happened in Washington, D.C. And remember I said, employees on paper only, citizens on paper only. We uncovered massive abuse within the Social Security, the Medicaid, Medicare system. We're finding the education system is completely corrupted. And what you're going to find is that it's every system is corrupted? Why can't the Department of Defense pass a audit? Why are they continuously $1 to $2 trillion each year in deficit? Because there's mass corruption, embezzlement, and money laundering operations going on. Moving forth with 2025 and what we've seen. And this is why I say 2025 was the year of exposure. It was the year of follow the money. And, you know, here's the most important thing, because I know people are giving the Trump administration a lot of shit about this. If it wasn't for the Trump administration, we wouldn't know half this shit. None of this shit would be headline news. None of this shit would be getting resolved. I think that that's really important to remember. That all of this stuff that we're talking about, border security, we're talking about stopping the drug trafficking and human trafficking in and out of our country. We're talking about getting rid of the criminals that entered our country illegally under a radical regime and administration. Pulling out of the United States the infiltration from foreign adversaries, defunding the corrupt intelligence apparatus that has operated through foreign nations, NGOs, think tanks, United Nations, and the European global elite inside of our country, defunding that entire operation in the hundreds of millions, if not trillions of dollars. That's thank you to the Trump administration who did that. I think that's important to point out, because we're all asking for arrests. And I'm one of the loudest ones. I'm saying, hey, we need arrests. And we really do, because we're coming into 2026. And that time is like now. But at the same time, what we're talking about is that the financial infrastructure that has kept the deep state alive during the 2016 to 2020 term of Donald Trump, the first term, the USAID system, the NGO system, the state-based system of embezzling federal funds secondarily through state programs and projects and grants. It's all being shut down. That's critical. We've talked about this multiple times on this show, that before you can go towards the head of the snake and begin to eliminate its army, you have to defund the entire operation. You have to pull the money out of the system. And once you begin to pull the money out of the system, people begin talking, because they're not getting paid anymore. The system begins to crumble under its own accord. And this is what we're seeing with all these programs being exposed. We're seeing an expose on DOJ lawfare, on the weaponization of legal institutions, everything from Jack Smith to what Merrick Garland was doing over at the DOJ. We're seeing declassification of massive amounts of documents pertaining to just about every scandal over the course of the last 20 years. And trust me, once they begin moving out of the Murrow building, you're going to find even more burn bags that were never destroyed of massive flop of documents. Chuck Grassley just yesterday requested all of the information pertaining to the Wiener's laptop be released to Congress for direct overview. We have the Clinton Foundation under direct investigation. Bill and Hillary Clinton have been subpoenaed twice to Congress. The next one is going to be a criminal subpoena to Congress for them under the Jeffrey Epstein case. You have 1 million more documents coming out under the Epstein investigation. What we've already learned is really nothing new, but out of the 1 million documents, we're going to see people be implicated. The DOJ mishandled the declassification redactions by putting them in the Adobe editor and allowing the blacking out to actually be observed through. As in, they fucked up. No, they didn't. They did that on purpose. They wanted you to see the redactions that were actually made. They're giving us everything that we asked for. They're letting citizen journalists take it and move with it and expose it. Now, there's a lot of questions I still have. Butler, Pennsylvania. I know that wasn't a lone gunman. Tyler Robinson. I know he didn't do Charlie Kirk. Will we see truth come out of that? I hope so one day. But let's work with what we have right now. Let's watch what we're seeing occur right now, right? So the DOJ, mass declassification is occurring right as we speak. And we haven't even seen the end of Russia, FISA-gate. It's only the beginning. National security, NATO, foreign policy. Donald Trump's national security policy that he came out and realigned towards the Western Hemisphere basically told a big fuck you to Europe. basically told Europe, we don't care about helping you out anymore. Your economy isn't big enough for us to give a shit. You don't bring in revenue for us at all. We look at you and all you're doing is just siphoning off U.S. assets and taxpayer dollars to fight wars that we don't even want to get involved in. And Trump basically told him, fuck off. Fund it yourself. That's huge. It's a massive foreign policy reset where we could potentially even see the United States of America leaving NATO and leaving the United Nations, which would be huge. What else we got? The strengthening of economic nationalism. Donald Trump has secured over $21 trillion of investment capital over the next 10 years into the United States of America, developing out a massive technological infrastructure in this country that is going to drive quantum computing, artificial intelligence, and mass energy production, to include micronuclear reactors, fusion generation, as well as the extraction of massive amounts of resources from our soil in the United States of America in the tune of over $121 trillion worth, all of which the profits proceeded will go into a fund known as the Sovereign Wealth Fund that will then get distributed out as dividends to the American people. Man, sometimes forget about all that, don't we? So when we start to look back at 2025, in the context of a successful presidency, Donald Trump is probably one of the most successful presidents in the United States of America's history in what he's done, besides Washington and Jefferson and Adams and so forth, who built the infrastructure. But President Donald Trump is probably one of the most successful presidents in his first term. I'll give him those props because he absolutely is. He's done remarkable job in disclosing as much information as they can get out at the point in time. You got to remember, you can't declassify information if it's part of a criminal investigation, including RICO cases. And I'm pretty sure we're going to talk about this tonight. Yep, 11 and a half months, he's done a remarkable job. And so props to President Donald Trump, sir. You've done an awesome job, but we need arrests. We need accountability, and we need accountability yesterday. Because people are losing faith. If we don't see politicians perp-walked, if we don't see people held accountable for what's happening in Minnesota, what's happening in California and New York, if we don't see the Obama administration and the Biden administration held responsible for their lawfare, their treason, their collusion, and the selling out of the United States of America, there will be a revolution in this country. There will be. And it doesn't matter if it's a Republican or Democrat who wins the next elections. There will be a revolution in this country. I'm not saying like I'm going to start it. I'm telling you, there's going to be a revolution in this country if people are not held accountable. Plain and simple. And DHS can come visit me and I'll tell it to their face. There will be a revolution in this country. And I don't mean like revolution with love spelled backwards type of shit. I mean 3%er type of revolution type of shit. Okay. Because people are done. This is the thing. All of this will continue. The fraud, the corruption, it'll only just stop for just a little while and then start all back up again. Unless people are held accountable. Unless people are perp walked through the streets with rotten eggs and tomatoes thrown at them and locked away for fucking life in prison. Unless you start doing that to your politicians, the next group that comes in is just going to do the same fucking thing all over again. They're not going to stop it. It's Republicans and Democrats, people. It's the Republicans and Democrats. So within the next 3 months, and I would say 3 months is, I have a feeling, by the way. I think that Trump is wants to wait right before the midterm elections. And now think about this strategy, right? I know people are saying, like, you got to do it before the midterms. We're going to lose the midterms. Imagine what would happen in around June timeframe, right when primary season is ramping up, that all of a sudden the DOJ came out and just mass arrest, indicted congressmen, senators, the Biden administration, DOJ, Oh, people just get arrested across the country. The largest political scandal in history. How many congressmen and senators would no longer be running for re-election? Which would kind of give an automatic win for the Republican opponents. Even if they were a Republican, now you just move them out of the way. Thinking about how Donald Trump operates, that is like sweet victory. Like, I know about the midterms. I'm not stupid. And trust me, we have a plan. The plan is right before everybody thinks that Democrats, the polls are coming out, Democrats are leading, then all of a sudden, boom, mass arrest. That would be epic. That'd be pretty epic. But I'll tell you this, and I will be 100% clear and honest with you. If we go into the midterms and the Democrats win back the House or the Senate, there's no more that this was the plan. Oh, this needed to happen. That shit's over. Yeah. Just so everybody knows, because I think everybody else feels the same way. If we get into the midterms and it's a blue wave that the Democrats win, there's no more like trust the plan and all this stuff. It's lock and load, tax protest type of deal, because it's basically war at that point. It's civil war is imminent at that point. There is no such thing as a two-party system, two wings of the same corrupt bird, at the unlawful foreign private and the private DC corporation. Cheers, brother. Ah, man. What a wonderful time to be alive, though. It is absolutely a great time to be alive. I don't wish I was alive during the American Revolution. Sometimes I do. That was a hard time, hard life. But I am so happy I am alive right now during this time in history. It is absolutely going to be biblical. It is absolutely, truly remarkable what we are witnessing and watching happen right now. All right. Minnesota. Oversight Chair James Comer announces Minnesota officials will answer for the mass Somali fraud, says criminal referrals are very likely. Walls are caving in on Tim Walz, and we will have criminal referrals. Good. Criminal referrals. Great. We want people arrested. Tim Walz knew about this. A.G. Ellison knew about this. Representative Tom Emmer knew about this. And don't say Tom Emmer didn't know about this. Tom Emmer knew about this when it first broke in 2018. Okay? See, Nick wasn't the first person to report on this. Nick actually is using someone else's investigation. He's just the influencer that is breaking the story. Nick didn't do the research, the investigation. This other gentleman did the research and investigation. And the story originally broke in 2018, in 2019, in 2021. And they've known about it this whole fucking time. Now, why do I call out Tom Emmer? Not because I'm going to be running for his congressional seat. I might one day. I might. I'm thinking about it. But he's the chairman emeritus of the Somalia Caucus. And that's him with Tim Walz. Had a blast at the Theater of Public Policy last night. Who knew that Representative Tim Walz could be so funny? I'm all for partisanship. Not with corrupt globalists. Right now, Minnesota GOP is demanding that Governor Tim Walz immediately resign. And if something comes out of this newly released letter, I'm hoping that he does very shortly. What do I mean? It's kind of weird that the FBI has released a letter from Vince Luther Bolter. You remember the guy that went and shot the representative in the Minnesota State House, Holtman? He wrote a letter to Kash Patel. I'm going to read part of this. He goes, recently, so he first says, I wanted to share some info with you that you might find interesting. I was trained by the U.S. military people off the books starting in college. I've been on the projects since that time in Eastern Europe, North America, and Middle East, and Africa, all in the line of duty, what I thought was right and in the best interest of the United States. He's talking about how he was working for the CIA. Now, if you go back to the Trump assassin at Mar-a-Lago, this is the same story that guy had. Put 2 and 2 together now. I don't think this guy's lying. He goes, recently I was approached about a project that Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, wanted done. And Keith Ellison, the AG, was also aware of the project. Tim wanted me to kill Amy Klobuchar and Tina. Tim wants to be the senator and doesn't trust Amy to retire as planned, and this is meant to stay in the last mile with Amy and Tina gone. Tim would get one of the open Senate seats, and someone else would become the VP, and Ellison would be rewarded with a lucrative governing position as Minnesota governor. He goes on to say that he declined, and then Tim Walz's team came in there and surrounded him and got him and pressured him to do it. And he says, I have all the receipts. Well, this guy has all the receipts, and now the FBI is actually releasing this letter. It starts to make sense that if you have this operation, this guy that you find out is working for the deep state intelligence apparatus, and you have these two assassins, right? Mar-a-Lago, and then you have the butler that you know were working for the deep state intelligence apparatus. Then you have the Charlie Kirk, which is most likely the same thing. And you know it's all interconnected. You can't start releasing information. You have to go with a constricted storyline. You have to keep it straight and narrow while the investigation goes off, because you don't want to tip people off. But I'm telling you, I think that they're going to bring down a massive deep state intelligence apparatus assassination network ring. That's why this letter was released by the FBI, declassified by the FBI. It's coming, people. So, next transition. Man, I'm just so thirsty. 1 second. Let me get this one out of the way, and we'll jump into the next transition. Ooh, man, my eyes hurt. You guys know these guys. Still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot with a 1775 starter kit. Just dropped only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin free, and mold free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions, in a black 1775 tumbler. $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something just like Rumble does. All right. Transition number 2. Former CIA analyst Larry Johnson reveals a bombshell possibility about the 91 drone attack on Putin's residence. He says British intelligence may have been acting independently, with MI6 chief having Ukrainian roots. While French and German intelligence aren't significant players in the war, British intelligence is critical. It's their baby. When you realize that the head of MI6, her family's directly from Ukraine. Her father was an oligarch. Oh. Now, wait a minute. Hasn't someone been telling you all of that? I'm just saying. Hasn't someone been telling you that the British intelligence and British Empire is really kind of the heart of all of this? Just saying. Remember last week when Ukraine launched missiles into Russia and smashed an oil refinery? And they just did it again today. Parts of Moscow were in blackout because their defense systems didn't work, because Ukrainian missiles bombarded another oil refinery, another power generation plant. Now that's funny because Ukraine doesn't have the technological military capability to do that. But Britain does. And guess what? Ukraine can't install Storm Shadow missiles in Ukraine and go, push the button. It doesn't work like that. You need satellites. You need various points of telemetry. You need a person from NATO or the British military to go in there and operate them. In other words, it's NATO that is striking Russia. It is Britain that is striking Russia. And when you go into Sergei Lavrov talking about this yesterday, hey, if any British or European troops or NATO troops are in Ukraine, they're fucking targets. This is what he's talking about. And then you get this assassination attempt on Vladimir Putin, right? Oh, we're really meant to believe that that was Zelensky. So we actually got a dump of information from General Michael Flynn on this, which was kind of interesting. I don't know where he got this information unless he's an aide to President Trump. He says, open source, U.S. President Donald Trump held another phone conversation, resident presidential aide for international affairs with Yuri Yushkov reported. According to him, Putin drew Trump's attention to what he described as a terrorist attack by Kyiv on his state residence in Novgorod region. The American leader, Yushkov, emphasized, was shocked by Kyiv's attack and stated that it would affect the U.S. approach to working with Zelensky. In addition, the president of Russia and the United States discussed the negotiations between Washington and Kyiv held in Florida and in a very friendly manner agreed to continue maintaining dialogue with each other. And then he highlights the key points. Now, why is this important? Well, it's important because Putin and Trump are talking more than Trump and Zelensky. Keir Starmer and Zelensky are talking more than Donald Trump and Keir Starmer. Do you get to see? The national security doctrine that came out basically removes alignment with the U.S. from European proxy wars. So when we start to look at this assassination attempt by Ukraine, this wasn't Ukraine. This was Britain. This was MI6. This was French intelligence. Remember how they were saying that French intelligence was behind Charlie Kirk's assassination? You remember Candace was saying this? I actually think there's probably a lot of truth behind that for a lot of good reasons. Because they knew that Donald Trump's realignment of foreign policy away from Europe, pulling out of Ukraine and funding, and more alignment with Russia is detrimental for Europe. It's going to kill the United Nations, or it's going to kill the EU, and it's going to kill the European economies. So they have to send a message. I'm almost positive that the assassination attempt on Donald Trump, which the two countries that Crooks had on his phone were Belgium and Germany. Europe. Put it together. So this is really interesting. Oh, I love this one. And this is Russia Times reporting this. So that is Swan Lake. Doomsday radio station unexpectedly began playing in Swan Lake. Yes, the same piece broadcast during the Soviet-era political crises, including the deaths of leaders and the 1991 coup. The music started hours after the Kremlin pledged retaliation for the assassination attempt on Vladimir Putin. Now, what does that signal or indicate? Something that I've been talking about for a very long time pertaining to Russia and Russia's options. That Russia this whole time has been playing weak when really strong. They've just been fucking with Ukraine because they knew that this was a larger Euro proxy war, and what they were trying to do is defund the EU and put the EU in a compromising situation that causes the collapse of globalism. That's what this is all about, okay? So Zelensky says Kyiv is discussing the possible presence of U.S. troops in Ukraine for security guarantees. It's not going to happen, okay? So this is a very bad idea, and this is what will happen. Russia will deny any security guarantees for Ukraine, period. It doesn't matter if they agree with them originally. They're going to deny them after the fact. They will begin the process of taking Odessa and most likely removing Zelensky by force. In less than a year, Russia will control Ukraine. Now, what do I mean? I said multiple different times, this is going to come to a head. Either Ukraine is going to accept the terms of the Russian deal where they give up the Donbass, Russia controls that whole area, all the mineral rights, and their people get to be free in that area, and Zelensky maintains control of Odessa. Or if Zelensky keeps on progressing, Putin is going to take out Zelensky. What do I mean by that? He's going to So listen, Ukraine and MI6 might miss Putin, but Putin is not going to miss Zelensky. When he goes after Zelensky, he is going to hit his target. The only thing that is stopping him right now is actually the fear of retaliation from Europe, because the U.S. by treaty under Article 5 of NATO is still integrated into it. So what I think is going to happen is that Russia will go and try to seize Odessa early. You got to remember, Odessa is a warm water port. It is the gateway into the Black Sea. It is the key for all trade within Eastern Europe. And Ukraine controls it. Russia's about to control it. Now, this is funny because I've been saying this for weeks and months. And what do we got here? Look at this shit. I shit you not. I say, where? Breaking. Intense Russian strikes reported in Odessa. You know, you get all these pundits on Fox News and stuff like that, military generals and colonels and leaders and all this stuff. And they give you their assessment of a geographical area, of a culture, of all this. But at the end of the day, warfare strategies and tactics are warfare strategies and tactics. Do you want to defeat a country? Cut off their lifelines, cut off their water, cut off their food, cut off their energy. It's really that simple. What has Russia been doing? Eastern Donbass is all of Ukraine's energy wealth. Odessa is all of their imports and exports, food and imports and exports. They've been hitting all of their power centers. They control Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. It's warfare 101. All right. I got to get going here. I got to jump on to the next show, DEFCON 0. I hope you guys join me and Alpha. I have not talked to Alpha in quite a few days, so this one will definitely be interesting. I'm hoping that we have a lot of stuff to talk about. I think we will. I don't care to talk too much about Candace Owens, but it is interesting to watch all of that unfold because the FBI is now involved with all of that. But we will see what happens. So for the last show of the year, have faith, guys. It's going to be biblical. God wins in the end. And, you know, I think that we're going to see significant action over the course of the next few weeks and few months, potentially even the next few days. All right. So have a happy 2026 coming in tomorrow. And I will see you on January 1st, 2026 to start off the new year right with your daily dose. Love you guys. Much love, respect. God bless. Take care. Have a great night. I will see some of you guys here in a little bit. Everybody else, I will see you next time in about 2 days. Take care. Good night.
There was a time when our children stood tall, hand on their hearts, one voice for all. There was a time when honor had weight, when the flag was a symbol, not a debate. There was a time when our history was known, with pride in the rules that made us our own. There was a time, respect for the brave, for those who bled, for the lives they gave. Now the homeland burns to silent war. Truth is twisted, we can't ignore. Through the smoke, a voice still calls. time when truth was clear, when the media served, not ruled by fear. There was a time when leaders stood fast, guarding the people, defending the past. Now corruption wears a crown, lies are fed to tear us down. But Q said watch, and Q said see, the silent war will set us free. From the front lines, soldiers stare, wondering if we're still there. Their blood, their hope, their sacrifice will not be sold for a last prize. There was a time, but the time isn't near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, the veil undone. Patriots rise, we are one. Land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on. Or we will spend our sunset years telling our children what it was once like in the United States where men were free.
There was a time, the time is near. The great awakening is here. Dark to light, veil undone. Patriots rise, we are one. Land of the free, home of the brave. No more silence, no more slaves. Answer the call, take back the fight. Children of freedom, stand for the light. There was a time, there was a time. Now is the time. Do it.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. The air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation. I want you to get mad.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
The more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
These people are still a part of that system, and that makes them our enemy.
We accept the reality of the world with which we're presented. It's as simple as that.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!